This is a safe space where you will feel empowered to embrace who you are, supported without reservation or expectation, and not judged for being pretty messy. Hi guys, welcome to the Pretty Messy podcast. You're with your host Michelle and
Zoe, and today we're going to be talking about outgrowing friendships.
This is a very big topic. I feel like everyone experiences this, throughout life. We all experience outgrowing friendships and just people as well that we keep in our lives that because we've known them for so long, we feel guilty outgrowing them. Do you know what I mean?
True. I think you and I talk about this a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And I feel like you could be in a friendship for 10 years and then meet someone and just be friends for 6 months and it could feel so different.
Guys, that's like us.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It can be so different and the dynamic of the friendship, you just align and yeah, I feel like outgrowing friendships is a natural part of life because you're constantly evolving. The whole point of life is to grow and evolve. So you're going to outgrow people that are on different paths.
But I also think some people, obviously we're all on different journeys, but some people sometimes expect they have to keep a friend around forever just because they met them in high school, because they met them in kinder. I feel so differently about that. I'm okay to let a friend go if it's not serving me and
100%.
not there's no the respect's been lost or whatever there. I don't feel like time is a measure of friendship to me.
So
I feel
true.
like it's how you feel and if they are supposed to still be on your journey.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree because I have a lot of friends that discuss that with me where they're like, oh, I feel like we don't have anything in common. They talk about those friends that they've kept for 10 years because, they've known them since high school and kindergarten. And they're just I love her and obviously respect her and I have so many memories with her, but we just don't have anything in common anymore. I'm like, well, if they don't have anything in common with you and they're not contributing to your growth and they're not a positive influence, there's no point in really holding on and putting effort into that friendship if you're not getting anything back from it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. I think that we're both very we run from conflict where we can though. So instead of having that conversation or we will try to have that conversation with a friend and then it's if they're not meeting you where you're at, they don't understand. And so then I just start distancing myself from there. I think you do the same.
Step back, yeah. Which is kind of a low-key a toxic trait. I would say if I notice something about a friend and I see the patterns there and I feel like it doesn't align with me, I will slowly kind of distance myself from that friend. But it is healthier to obviously communicate how you feel, definitely, because people might not be aware of the things that they're doing that are contributing to, the friendship being a bit dodgy.
But I think that I try to have the conversation with them, and I think you do too. Maybe in smaller ways, you try to have the conversation with them, and then it's you're not, it's not getting to them because they don't have the same level of self-awareness or they don't feel the same about the friendship. So they're just okay, they're just having a chat over coffee with me, and it's no, I need to be yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think we both know our boundaries as well. What's a major red flag for us in friendships. If someone crosses a line, they're oh no, I don't think I could go back from that and look at them the same. Do you know what I mean? Whereas small things, I'm okay, I can get past that, smaller things, just discuss it, talk about it. But if it's major things that really cross my boundaries and values and everything, then I'm going to be
What are some major things that cross your boundaries and values that you would just...
I think selfishness in a friendship. I don't like when people are selfish and they only think about themselves. I think I love when friends are considerate of other people. But obviously still having a backbone. I want them to have boundaries and have a backbone. Not be complete people pleaser where they're just oh no, whatever you want. Just have a balance of their boundaries and as well as just being selfless in the friendship. And I think as well trust, loyalty and trust in friendship, someone backstabbing you, talking behind your back or being two-faced, they'll you tell them something or they will then go and tell another girl oh my God, did you know gossiping about I think that's also another thing.
We were saying that to each other the other day.
Yeah.
I don't like it when like I have one friend and she gossips a lot to me about all of her friends, and then I think like, what do you say about me when I'm not with you?
That's a big red flag. I think if someone's talking about other people to you, like friends, and constantly like talking bad about other friends, then what are they saying behind your back? Because if they're talking about everyone in their life, they're going to be talking about you if you piss them off or get on the wrong side.
And if you think this was about you, well, maybe it is.
How have you dealt with like letting a friend go? Like, have you ever dealt with like a bad friendship breakup where you've, had to let someone go, and like, how have you done it?
Yeah, I think I a few years ago was such a big people pleaser, and I still kind of do, but like I would do anything for my close friends now, but back then I would do anything for anyone. And I realized like that doing so much for other people, and when they don't reciprocate it, not into the same like financial level or like, go out of their way level, but like just the same, give you the same respect back. And I think that actually made me lose some friendships when I realized like I do too much for other people. So then when I was going through, I think I lost like 3 friends within the space of a year because I was just kind of becoming more self-aware and more like conscious of like retaining my energy. And I didn't have any big blow up arguments with any of them, but I did all 3. I tried, oh no, the first one I just stopped replying because I was like, I can see this is just not going anywhere, and we just never spoke again. And then the other 2, I like tried to have the conversation because I thought that they were a bit more on a like a spiritual level, gonna understand it, and like I thought that they really valued the friendship, but they ended up both being selfish about it, like we just said, and not seeing from my side. Yeah. And it's like I'm not being selfish by saying that because I definitely see from their side. Everyone has stuff going on in their lives. But it wasn't for me to hang around. So I think for me, I would mainly say that I just do the distancing thing if the conversation doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. I think like I've definitely dealt with friendships like that too, where, they're probably more negative as well towards me. Like I was trying to like change just basically change my life around to be more positive, conversations more positive, be more intentional about my thoughts, the conversations I was having, who I was like hanging out with, and like I'd, be around people that were just constantly gossiping or very negative, talking about the past, living in the past, and it just didn't serve me, and it felt like it just dampened my vibration. Like I wanted to raise my vibration. That's why I was being so intentional about everything I was doing and saying, and like being around them was almost kind of like being an autopilot, just like gossiping and like talking negative about everyone. And I just felt like it didn't make me feel good. Like deep down, like I felt like it just didn't make me feel good, and that's why I had to like cut certain people like that out of my life. Even like relationships too. Like when people are starting to do that to you, and you don't feel good after leaving, being with them. Like, when you spend time with someone and you just feel drained.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, like so many times, like in friendships, like, yeah, like they meant to, like positive friendships are meant to fill your cup up and feel like inspire you and just leave you feeling like full of energy. Yeah, energized. But then the wrong people just make you feel super drained and like emotionally exhausted as well.
For sure. I agree with that. And I think that comes back to just knowing that it is a normal part of everyone's journey to outgrow
100%.
people, and it's okay to do that.
Yeah, because I've definitely resented people for being like that. But at the end of the day, like if you put it in perspective, everyone is on their own path. Like they're all dealing with their own struggles and everything, and not everyone is self-aware of like how to help themselves
and regulate their emotions and things like that. I agree.
Yeah. So I just had to like really step back and like tell myself it is not like also personal, and like they're not trying to personally affect you. It is more a them thing, and they need to sort that out. And like, as much as we want to help people and like be there for people, because I feel like I definitely am someone, when I see someone struggling, I always try to help them, I always try to give them the tools and like things that help me and like try to inspire them. But not everyone is going to be inspired and want to do the work like you want to do.
Do you think that it's possible to maintain a friendship with someone who's no longer on the same path with you, or like some kind of relationship?
I think, yes, it is possible, but you'd have to love them from afar. Like, you can't be too close because obviously some people, like, they're down in the dumps and they have gone through the trenches and they're trying to like get themselves out, and you can support a friend and love them from afar, but to be really close with them like how you normally were, like it's going to affect you in some way, isn't it, if you're constantly like around that, and like who knows like how long it's going to take them to get out of those trenches too. So like you can love someone from afar and like support them from afar and just be like, hey, like I love you, but for my own mental health and well-being, I need to like take a step back and like really like protect my energy, because like when I'm around you, I feel drained or whatever, like to communicate that with them. But I think like that is a hard conversation to have with someone, because for someone that is like, say if they are in a negative mindset, for them to take that, it's not going to probably be received as well as you'd think. Because it is, yeah, it's hard to tell someone that their energy is like draining. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why we both resort to like maybe distancing ourselves if that conversation feels like it's not going to be met where we're at, or it feels too hard.
Yeah.
But sometimes as well, when you distance yourself, you don't hear from them either. And the friendship just naturally
fades
like,
away.
No bad feelings, no hard feelings.
Yep.
It just like maybe you both felt the same, and I think that's fine too. Actually, it's like peaceful, because I don't like the thought of having to tell someone like, hey, this like I don't like that you do this, or like this crosses my boundaries,
it's very confronting.
or I feel like I have to keep reminding you of this and stuff. And we're not trying to be anyone's mum. Like in a friendship, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, it's true. And yeah, it's such a hard topic, isn't it? Because I feel like it is really important to communicate how you feel and like, tell those people, because maybe they have never been told that their whole life. And it might be hard to hear that for the first time, but then that might trigger something in them to be like, oh, no one's ever told me that, but maybe that's why I'm the way that I am. Like I need to like see where that's coming from. It might inspire them to like actually better themselves. But it is so hard to like bring up those conversations and be like, that's why I feel like it's so much easier for me to just like slowly
back.
Just like pull back a little bit and not like be so engaged with them. Yeah, I feel like I'm someone as well, like I'm such an independent person. I love doing things alone, and I'm very sensitive with energy. So who I hang out with all the time, like I'm super like conscious of, because I do feel like my social battery, like I have a battery, and once it's low, I'm like, I'm mute. And then like sometimes like there's friendships that I feel like, especially like me and Zoe, like I'm just like, blah, blah, like, we're just like, I don't know, we chat and like talk forever about like so many different things, but then I never get tired. Do you know what I mean?
I think that like going on a holiday with a friend is the best way to see that. Well, like same with a guy though, like, if you can survive a holiday with a friend, like of course you're gonna have times where you're like social battery drain or whatever, but if you can just go on a holiday for a friend, get back and be like, okay, that wasn't bad, or you go away with them and then you're like, oh my gosh, no,
it's
not
not
a trouble buddy. I think that's a really good way to tell, because you're like with them 24/7, you have to sort out a lot.
There's always going to be conflict somehow, so you're going to have to like navigate it, and it is a big test for a connection for sure.
Disclaimer, we just got back from Bali and we're still friends.
It definitely was different, because with our friendship, like I feel like usually you're the one that takes the lead, I feel like in Melbourne, but then in Bali I had to take the lead because I was
panicking.
Yeah, like I was the navigator around Bali, so I felt like it was different, the dynamic.
Yeah, that's actually true. Hey, but like I guess I've lived in Melbourne like a long time, and you're kind of newer.
Yeah,
and I have a car. And but like in Bali, we've been there several times, and I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
so
it's such a different.
My mind couldn't even wrap around it.
Yeah, but you got a hang of it though after a while.
Yeah,
it was all good, guys. We didn't have any tiffs. Don't worry.
Any domestics?
Any domestics? Do you think that like when you release old friendships, like it makes room for new people that align for you better?
For sure. And I think that you and I both met because of that reason. Like I was, I guess, distancing myself from some people at the time that we met, and it was around my birthday, and I was like thinking, oh, you know, like I definitely have room in my circle for a new friend.
Yeah.
And then I think, as you guys know, me and Michelle met. She was doing my makeup for my birthday, and we realized that we lived in the same building as each other.
I find that so funny that on the day that we met, we both like really wanted to hang out with each other, and then Zoe said she felt like scared to ask me to like hang out, and I was like, we should get coffee, and you were like, oh my god, yes, like you were like so happy that I asked you.
Because like I thought I was like the client, and you know how sometimes people like are just, I'm sure sometimes you're just lovely to everyone, and you're just like, yeah, we should hang out, and then it never goes anywhere. Like, you know, on a night out when the other girl goes like, we should hang out like tomorrow, let's go to for lunch, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I'd do that, but then they never text you, and it's like that situation. So yeah, I was really happy when you messaged me.
I was like serious because I just was fresh in Melbourne. I want to make friends.
Yeah. But not anymore, guys. She's at capacity.
Yeah.
No, it's for real. I think, yeah, you know when like a space is opened up in your life for a new friend, and like if you let that energy, like be open to meeting people, because we were both open to meeting each other, I guess.
True.
And like
we're in that new space of our life where we're making room for like growth for ourselves, but also people that aligned with that too. Do you know what I mean? Like stood for the same values and like wanted to like evolve and grow in their life. And like I feel like that's why we attracted each other, because we both were on that kind of level with each other. Yeah.
I feel like the same energies always magnetize towards each other, even though they say opposite energies. No, I think like the same energies. Like if you're wanting the same thing, the universe is going to pull like that together.
Yeah.
So just, I guess some tips, like we obviously met at an appointment. So I just think like leaving the house, like going out of the house, like just smiling at people or being like complimenting someone. Like if you just say like, I love your nails, or like I love your shoes. Where'd you get them from? Just strike up that conversation. Like girls love that. I love that when women say that to me, like even if they're just doing compliments. Yeah. It's such a good way to like start the conversation, and then like you could get into a chat, and maybe they're looking for a new friend too, and like you'll see the reason why like the universe was like, you know, give this person a compliment, and it will show you. It's
true. I agree, because I think women that give compliments are really beautiful people, because I think like if you're like a jealous person or you're envious of people, insecure, you don't give compliments to people. You struggle to tell people, oh, they look good or they look beautiful or this or that, their energy's this, or I don't know, anything. Whereas women that are really like just generous with their compliments and like want to tell women, you know, oh my God, like you look really beautiful today, you're like this, I love this about you, or whatever. Like I think that's such a beautiful quality to have in a woman, like that's able to actually like give compliments to women.
And I think that like one of the compliments that we were talking about the other day that was like would be top tier, and I think you did get that, maybe not in a friendship but in another relationship, was that like I love your energy, or like that is a top tier compliment. And if you start with a compliment to a person, like maybe the conversation is going to be like, hey, I love your energy, I'd love to hang out again. Like I think that is a top tier compliment.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I love giving that compliment too. When I see someone, I'm like, oh my God, their energy, just their aura and energy, the way that they hold themselves. Like there's some people that I meet that I'm like, oh my God, like they're just like such a beautiful human being. Like the healer that I went to in Bali, like her energy, like she was just like a warm hug. Her energy was just like made you feel so safe, and like you just wanted to tell her everything. Like you were just trusted her. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the type of energy, like I feel like it's so rare to find that as well in people like that have a really open energy like that. So when people give like compliments about energy, I feel like that is bigger than like complimenting someone's looks.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And how do you think like you can find closure? You can't always have that, you know, final conversation with someone. So if you don't get the opportunity to have that conversation, or, you know, things don't change, how can you find closure without getting closure per se?
I would say that closure happens internally, because I think like throughout life, like there's so many things and like experiences that I've gone through that I have felt like I didn't get enough closure to like close that chapter. But I think I learned over time as I've grown older is like closure is actually created internally for yourself. So I think you just have to make peace with what's happened within that friendship, and you have to let it go for yourself, regardless of if you didn't get an apology, or you didn't get the words that you wanted, or you didn't get the reaction that you thought you'd get from them. I think like you do have to let it go for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to hold on to that resentment and like that hate in your heart. And that can like turn into so many different things, like physical illness, or like, I don't know, just so many things like that blocking your chakra and like changes your energy and changes the way you hold yourself. So I feel like it's so important for you to just make peace and like forgive them from afar, even if it's not like physically saying like I forgive you. Like you say it out to the universe, like, you know, I forgive that person for whatever they did to me or whatever happened between us, and I just like, you know, I let it go now. Like it's in the past, and I'm just gonna like let it go for me, because like you have to have that forgiveness for yourself.
And I think just focusing on what you do want intentionally in the future, because you kind of have to replace something with something. And I mean, if you do feel like you have to end that friendship for yourself, it's nice to think about, you know, a future of a friendship with someone who does stay in your boundaries, who does really respect you, who does give and take the same as you. So focus on like the good and what can come from closing these doors, what doors it will open.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very, very good way to look at things, because I think like even if something is perceived as negative, there's always a reason that God and the universe is taking something out of your life to make room for something new, because he can't give you everything you want if you're cluttered with all this negativity and all these toxic people in your life. Like you need to get rid of all of that to make room for all the good things that you're attracting.
For real.
Yeah, but that's all that we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Pretty Messy podcast. We come up with podcasts every Sunday, so we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.